Jax Taylor and Tom Schwartz are so happy living as neighbors in neighboring townhouses in the valley. Jax's living situation came under scrutiny during the Valley Season 2, as his ex-wife, Brittany Cartwright, thought that this was a mistake. But the Valley alum and his Vanderpump Rules alum BFF are clearing up any misconceptions that might exist about their living situation, in which their home gyms share a wall. In the above clip from the Valley After Show, Tom opened up about the joy that he has felt from living in his new space following his 2022 divorce from ex-wife Katie Maloney. "I'm so happy in that space," he exclaimed, as seen in the video above. "Aside from the beautiful home I had with Katie, this is the second most beautiful, peaceful place I've ever lived in my life," Tom continued. "It's my sanctuary." "Same," Jax agreed. "I think it helps that I can bounce ideas or thoughts off him, like, hey, do you think I should go this route? Or this route? It helps having my friend there." Jax admitted that after being married for 10 years, having Tom share a wall with him has been helpful in the midst of his divorce. "I'm lonely. I don't know how to deal with this," he continued. "I'm sober now. I need to be close to friends that can help pick me up. I feel like if I was alone, I would be struggling a little bit." Tom Schwartz reveals why he was worried about living so close to Jax Taylor. But during the Valley After Show, Tom admitted that he did have his qualms about living so close to Jax. "The men live so close that their top-floor outdoor patios are separated by a thin glass partition that either of them can hop across to get to their place. I was really worried about the optics," Tom explained, "especially from the women on the valley. Honestly, though, it's been great." Tom continued, admitting that he has set boundaries with Jax. "I've protected my peace. There's a healthy boundary that he respects. We respect," he added. "He's never pounding on my wall. He's not pounding on my door." Details on Jax Taylor and Tom Schwartz's townhouses. Jax gave the Valley viewers a look inside of his townhome during the Valley Season 2, Episode 10. The houses, which Tom referred to as Jax's Hassle Castle and Schwartz's Sanctuary, are both spacious and modern, with plenty of space for the single men. Jax's house features a primary bedroom for him and a bedroom for his son, Cruz Kachi, whom he shares with Brittany, and a playroom for him as well. "That's as big as our first apartment," Jax said when he saw Cruz's setup. The house also features a top-floor terrace with a built-in grill and plenty of space for entertaining friends and visitors. "It's been 10 years since I've lived by myself," Jax said during the episode. A tale of two townhouses. The first thing Tom Schwartz noticed about his new townhouse was the silence. Not an empty, rattling silence, but a profound, settled quiet that wrapped around him like a cashmere blanket. For months, the echoes of his past life had followed him, the raised voices, the strained laughter, the polite, chilly silence of a love that had run its course. But here, in the heart of the valley, in this clean, modern space that was entirely his own, there was a stillness he hadn't realized he desperately needed. It was his sanctuary, a fortress built not of stone and steel, but of peace. He told everyone it was the most beautiful, peaceful place he'd ever lived, and he meant it with every fiber of his being. And then there was the second thing he noticed, the wall, the shared wall. The one that separated his sanctuary from Jax Taylor's brand new home. Jax had moved in a week before him, and the moment Tom heard his friend's plans, a tiny, nervous flicker had ignited in his gut. A voice of polite reason, sounding suspiciously like a collective of every woman he'd ever dated, whispered in his ear, "Tom, the optics. The boundaries. Are you sure about this?" But the moment he stepped inside his front door, all those worries had evaporated. The air was clean, the light was bright. He had his own space. He had his own peace. And on the other side of the shared wall, he had his best friend. For Jax, the move was less about sanctuary and more about necessity. He'd lived with Brittany for 10 years, and for the first time in a decade, the silence wasn't a choice, it was a consequence. a consequence of an empty primary bedroom and a quiet playroom that felt too big and too sad when his son, Cruz, wasn't there. "I'm lonely," he'd admitted, and the words were truer than a decade of bravado. His new home was a hassle castle, a work in progress with boxes still stacked in corners, a half-assembled crib in Cruz's room, and the ghosts of old routines lurking in the shadows. He didn't want to get lost in those shadows. He needed a lifeline. He needed a friend. And so, the shared wall became a kind of psychological conduit. For Tom, it was a reminder of support, a quiet hum of camaraderie. He would be in his home gym, the rhythmic thud of his feet on the treadmill a steady drumbeat, and he'd know that Jax's own gym was just on the other side. A solid, immovable presence. For Jax, the wall was a beacon. When the loneliness would start to creep in, when the house felt too vast and the quiet too loud, he could just think of Tom on the other side. A simple knock, a quick pop-in, a lifeline within arm's reach. The initial days were a delicate dance of establishing new norms. Jax, in his old way, would often just appear. He'd see Tom's car in the driveway, and before Tom could even get his keys in the lock, Jax would be there. "Hey man, just wanted to see if you were heading to the gym. My bicep workout is kicking my butt." It was innocent enough, but Tom, still basking in the glow of his newfound solitude, would wince internally. He loved Jax, but he'd spent 2 years carving out a space for himself, and he had to protect it. One evening, Tom was trying to meditate. He downloaded an app, lit a candle, and was a few deep breaths in when he heard a thump 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 followed by a muffled string of curses. He smiled, a small, knowing smirk. It was Jax, likely wrestling with a piece of IKEA furniture. The sounds were a comforting sign of life, but they were also a gentle invasion of his peace. Later that night, as they sat on their adjacent top-floor patios, a thin glass partition all that separated them, Tom brought it up. "Look, man," Tom said, gesturing vaguely at the glass. "This thing is great. It's like we're close, like super close." Jax nodded, taking a long sip of his beer. "Yeah, I know. It helps, dude. You have no idea." "I do have an idea," Tom said gently, "and that's why I need to ask you something." Jax's face, which had been open and relaxed, tensed slightly. He knew it was coming. The boundary conversation. "Just, can you text me first? I'm really trying to protect my peace these days. Not from you, man, never from you. Just, in general." Jax looked down at his beer. A small wave of shame washed over him, hot and quick. He knew he was being too much. He knew it. But the alternative, sitting alone in that empty, silent house, felt worse. Yeah, totally my bad," he said, his voice softer than usual. "I get it. I'm not used to this, The whole, being alone thing." "I know," Tom said, his voice full of genuine empathy. He knew better than anyone. They had both lived through it. "I'm here. Just text me." And from that moment, a new rhythm was born. It was a healthy rhythm, a dance of respect and understanding. Jax learned to send a quick text before he headed over. "You around?" or "Got a question for you." Tom would always respond, "Come on over," or "Can you give me 5?" And the new space felt even more comfortable for it. The real test came one late night, months into their new arrangement. It was past midnight, and a series of heavy, unseasonal rainstorms had rolled into the valley. The wind howled, and the rain hammered against the windows. Jax was in his living room, staring out at the downpour, a glass of water in his hand. He was sober, he was alone, and he was struggling. The quiet had become menacing again. Every sound, a tree branch scraping against the glass, the distant siren of an ambulance, felt amplified, a soundtrack to his loneliness. He scrolled through his phone, a dozen numbers he could call, but none he wanted to bother. He came to Tom's contact. He didn't want to knock. He knew Tom was probably asleep, his sanctuary a fortress of dreams. He just wanted to feel less alone. He started to type a text. "Hey man, you up?" "No, too needy. Just checking in." "No, too vague." He deleted it all and started again, letting his guard down. The words felt like a confession. "I'm lonely. I don't know how to deal with this. I feel like if I was alone, without you right there, I would be struggling a little bit more right now." He hit send and immediately regretted it. He threw his phone onto the couch, a knot of embarrassment twisting in his stomach. Moments later, a series of quick, firm knocks echoed through his house. A knock on the front door. He froze. Who would be knocking at this hour? The only person who would even dare. He walked to the door, a wave of relief washing over him. It was Tom, standing in the doorway, a look of concern on his face. "Hey man," Tom said softly, his voice cutting through the sound of the rain. "Your text. You okay?" Jax just shook his head, a single decisive motion. He opened the door wider and gestured for Tom to come in. Tom stepped inside, and the sanctuary followed him. The peace that Tom had so carefully curated in his own home seemed to fill Jax's as well, pushing back the shadows of loneliness.